Hello and welcome to Reflections, episode 13. This is Zion part 1. We're very excited to finally get into the shorter episodes. This one's only 12 minutes long. The reason it's parts and not days is because this part is multiple days, but we are going to kind of do it by each day we're at Zion. Anyways, here we go. We'll get into it now.
Yeah, this is also like our first big trip for Go There Do That. So up until we went to Zion, we were just like camping on the weekends, like as we could, because it was 2020. And then we were kind of like allowed to explore a little further. And so this was the first place that we went.
Yes. And if you haven't watched The Narrow Adventure, Journey Across 8 Years, that's kind of the
Why Zion?
The prequel to this, yeah. So just if you need extra lore.
Yeah.
But
yeah, Zion has a lot of significance. Really get to that in more in depth in like part 2 and 3, I think, but
we'll see. Here's part 1. I also made a Zion video years ago, but it was just a 15-minute highlight. It's interesting. This is also the first one in perspectives that I already have a video about.
That's true, yeah.
Too. So I was revisiting something I've already edited for the first time. Like, yeah.
But like making something new out of it.
Which is fun because this one's 12 minutes and it's just the first couple days. It includes things that I haven't included in the other one anyways.
And footage that you didn't even like notice before because you were like
That's
going
true.
and getting the highlights.
And we will talk about that now. You're nervous?
Yeah.
We're about to leave for Utah.
I'm 100% sure we've forgotten something.
To
I
this.
don't care. Yeah.
Oh.
My face right there is like, I was like, I'm 100% sure we're forgetting something. And, I think that's me like processing like what it could be and what that will mean. Cause it was our first time, it was our second time like traveling together, pretty much ever, like on a plane. Yeah, our second time traveling together on a plane ever. And then our first time like traveling after like COVID, like we're going on a plane, it's COVID. There's a lot of extra things going on. It was our first time traveling with like camera gear.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I was pretty nervous on like what could be missing.
Right.
Because if it was like a lighter, we don't have like, it's different than camping, like traveling domestically, I guess. But
Yeah.
yeah.
You haven't ridden on a plane too many times. It's this scary.
Yeah.
Anyways, so one frame of that I kept in. Oh no.
I think Danny might miss us too.
I'm sorry we can't take you with us. What do you think?
I also think it's funny. So this is like my second time to ride on a plane ever. And then like I'm wearing jeans and like a button-up shirt. Like that's crazy to me now. Like I would never travel in that now.
You don't do that.
But I think I wore that because we were like we flew into Vegas before we went and then drove to Zion from there. And I think I was like, oh, well, when we land, we'll like go out and do stuff. So I guess I'll already be like ready. I think that was my thinking. And then the flight is pretty short for us from Texas, but still, it's just like, I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And then like a giant bag, like it wasn't like a crazy long trip. It's just funny seeing that version of me, I guess.
Well, we weren't forgetting anything,
Yeah.
you know, but one night is enough.
For Vegas, yeah.
And then we went out, walked around one night, and then the next night we didn't do anything. So
Yeah.
that's why you don't get much Vegas footage.
Yeah. That wasn't like the main point, but it was like, oh, well, that's the easiest and closest place to fly into to then go to Zion. And I hadn't traveled much anyways, and so I was like, I guess I can mark Vegas off. But
It's
not really
off.
my vibe.
It's
Yeah.
marked off. It's marked off. Yeah. Here we go. Getting the essentials.
It's clearly going to be a wonderful morning. Bye, Vegas. Wish we could have gotten to know you better.
We tried getting out of Vegas. They don't want to let us go. It was very uplifting for your mood to...
I love
Yeah.
a treat.
Mhm.
I love a treat. And so, yeah, getting like a coffee and then a little sandwich is like, I'm pretty happy from there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that is why it's essential
Yeah.
before a long drive is to make sure you're fed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Out of Vegas. They don't want to let us go.
So,
Road trip.
we are back on the road thanks to some nice truckers with some good advice.
Do you remember what happened with the nice truckers? Because that wasn't recorded.
Yeah, I think we were just like stuck in like stand still traffic, and if I remember correctly, I remember like a trucker next to us being like, roll down your window, and then he told us like basically like where to get off and get back on or something. But yeah, I don't remember like the full context, but I know a trucker like rolled down his window and told us what to do because we were going to be stuck there for whoever knows us. It's like super zoomed in. Whoops. Can we just use this song for like all of our videos?
So, first time ever using music not from where we have like this is playing someone else's music, Tom Rosenthal. And so it is like in the description, like credited and everything it like pops up, you know, but our channel isn't monetized. So that's how it would affect us if I were to use this, you know, without permission. But I will say we do have somewhat of a relationship with Tom Rosenthal. We'll get into that later, but his music is very definitive, influential to us in our Go There Do That adventure, and so I really wanted to include it, especially since we were listening to his music like this whole drive.
And this was also like, it's funny seeing this because this is when I would just like record stuff as like the passenger or whatever and then not turn the volume down at all, even when I'm like speaking.
Yeah.
So that's funny, but yeah, like at this time in our lives, we were listening to Tom Rosenthal like pretty much nonstop.
Because we just discovered him at McKinney Falls, like right after McKinney Falls. So this is like the first time we've
Yeah.
heard his music.
And so we
Yeah.
were just like listening to everything like on repeat. It's like very, yeah, I don't know. He's like a cool lyricist, I guess. Most of his songs are like uplifting, but he like writes about real stuff and silly stuff and fun stuff. It just like seems like he's very much himself, like through his music. And yeah, so he's a pretty special. Like his music is very special to like our story, especially like when it came into our lives.
Yeah, this part. So, anyways, listen, we don't really play anything on the radio now when we drive, but back then, this is the jams we listened to. Here it is.
I said boom, 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 boom. It's running out of time. I said boom, 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 boom. It's running out of time.
Thought we were out of Vegas. So foggy, you can like barely tell those are mountains.
So I had fun with it. Editing. I mean, it's most of the things that I would normally count as mistakes, I've included in here and made them into something that's like a part of the music and everything, which normally I would only use like one or two of these drone shots really quickly. But I was like, this is the only time, you know, we basically flew the drone. So it was like cool to be able to find a new creative way to match with the music, which
Right.
I use later on in the video too, but
Right.
Yeah.
And like how a new way to like utilize your drone shots and stuff.
yeah. And so you're kind of like, what's going on? Is this a mistake? I think that too. But then I'm like, oh, it's kind of fun because if you're listening to the music.
And again, it goes along with like a Tom Rosenthal song that we were listening to like live, and then
It's all fun. We're all just having fun here. But yeah, I just think that's something that I wanted to point out that I did. So.
like it's a different kind of pretty than Alaska, but it's still beautiful.
Alaska being the first time we flew on a plane, and you said,
Or went anywhere,
Yeah.
really, other than like Schlitterbahn in Texas where we live.
but that was a cruise. I just took a photo camera. It was before we had the thought of this whole
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. I mean, essentially for that trip, like all we had to do was I had to book our flights and book our cruise, and then
Yeah.
there wasn't a whole lot of like planning on my part that I had to do for that one, which was perfect for like our first trip ever taking, like it was crazy enough that we went to Alaska, but yeah, it was pretty tame as far as like planning and logistics goes. And so this was our first time traveling with like me planning everything, like a rental car, where we're staying, like what we will do with that time and stuff. So yeah.
But I missed all those little references in the first go around. Like I didn't listen to what you were saying in each clip of driving and stuff. Normally I would just take out the sound of the driving, but here That's why I have the subtitles, so you can like hear a little better on what we say, because it does have something to do with what happens next. So you can hear.
Okay. Don't love that. I said I would.
Huh?
I said I would.
Yeah, because I'm getting a little, now that we've entered Utah, I like swerved, and that's what you heard, because I'm like wanting to look around and wanting to use the camera and stuff, and then that's why I say, can you please drive the rest of the way? 'Cause,
That makes sense. Because when
Yeah.
I was like, oh, was I like complaining about the landscape?
Nope.
Because I'm like, it's beautiful. Like, I don't remember being unimpressed.
Nope.
Or like I would say something like that, but I was saying it about your driving. Okay, that makes more sense to me now.
Oh, you didn't hear the womp?
Oh, I did, but I guess I didn't realize I thought that was like an effect with the music, because that sound is making it sound like things are going awry a little bit.
No,
But that's from you hitting the like.
actually swerving and hitting the little side of the road.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yep. I could
Because you were watching me try to get the footage, and you were like,
Please.
just let me do it. Yeah. But this is also my first time driving, like, in the outside of a state that I'm familiar with. So I was like very, very anxious, and that's why I'm acting like a brat about driving, because I'm nervous.
Well, you're not really a brat. You just, like I said, I
I
would.
said I would.
But I was hoping you wouldn't bring that up,
Yeah.
But here we go. Gives me a chance to change the mood. You need an explanation for that second time you look back. I'm saying you looked into the mirror twice, even though we had like straight road. Anyways, it's the story that isn't really discussed that I'm trying to work out. All right, I'm done.
Well, it worked.
I just really like this part.
Yeah. Well, it was like different because we were staying at the lodge. We didn't feel like comfortable enough. Like, we had just started camping a few months before this, so then we were like, we're not gonna like camp at Zion and like figure out how to take all our gear on the plane and like all that. Like, that was just like more than I could
Yeah.
mentally handle. And so we stayed at the lodge in Zion, which worked out really nicely anyways, because like the campground is kind of like towards the front of the park, and then you have to like use shuttles to go to all the parts of the park that people want to go to, like all the trails and stuff. But then the lodge is like basically where all of those things are. So then when we're opening that gate, like you have to have like a special code, and cars are only allowed there. I don't know if it's like that. I feel like it's like that most of the time, but at least in like winter season, cars aren't allowed like inside the park. Like if you're staying at the lodge, they'll let your car in to the lodge, and you can't drive on any of the other roads to stuff, and then you have to use the shuttles too.
That's the explanation behind the gate. Well, it worked.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Because I was unsure.
Yeah, now we know. Just have to point out that was another look, but now you're starting to look forward at the stuff instead of looking at the mirror. Mm-hmm. You know, like it's part of it. Mm-hmm. Have to include it. What?
I'm trying to start my watch.
Get your steps in.
If looks could kill.
It was important for you to start your watch.
Yeah, I was very into like my Apple Watch at the time.
Well, it's important that your steps were counted here. All right, you ready? We finally made it. Barely. Going to the, was it Emerald Pools? We still have to wait to check in, so we decided to just take a hike. That's what they said. They're like, you can't check in yet, go take a hike. So that's what we did. If any serious watchers go there do that, remember that was in the original Zion video, but
yeah,
it was cool. It was cool seeing that again, but just in a different context for me, like different iteration of it. But anyways, and there's a little bit more like I include, so it's the director's cut or something. Check in yet, go take a hike. So that's what we did. So I feel that I may be more deeply moved by the sort of unrelenting beauty that is your first time ever to Zion. Like, you're just like, what is going on? Like, that's kind of the vibe in this too. It's a very repetitive song, but you're also just like, oh, there's another.
I'm like, I've never seen anything like this before.
There's
Like,
another beautiful thing.
Yeah, this color rock, like these fall colors, like I'd never seen fall colors that vibrant, and like the waterfall type area. Like, it was a very cool hike to kind of get acclimated to Zion with, because it's just like,
Yeah.
it's not very difficult, but you just like get to see all these beautiful parts. But yeah, I remember I was like really quiet because I was just like overwhelmed
Yeah.
by all of it, and overwhelmed that we were like that we were there. Like, that was like a possibility for us. That was a possibility for us even with like the craziness of what 2020 was, you know, because we at one point thought we were done traveling. Like, good thing we went to Alaska and like, you know, blew our load early, because I guess you don't get to do that anymore. And so yeah, this was just like crazy. Yeah. Overwhelming.
Good thing. But also it's cloudy, so the colors are even more subdued because it's cloudy. So it's not even the full
effect.
Yeah. But yeah, I missed this my first editing go around, and I'm like, why did I not include this?
Trees going up that ridge. It's pretty neat.
Don't say I never did nothing for you.
Okay. Why would you include it this go round?
Well, you're noticing stuff. It's cool. Like, yeah. And then I have this, don't say I never did nothing for you.
And I didn't even fight you. I didn't even say anything snarky back. Like, I just kind of smiled.
Yes.
And then you like smile back at it because you're like, yes, like this is what I wanted to show you.
Because I've been to Zion before. Like we said, watch The Narrow Adventure. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I am very proud of this, everything happening too, as you can tell by this look here. Just wherever. Whoa. One more step and then look up. So you can hear all the people, but you can't see them. But there was a lot of people there. So I know there's that, like, expectation versus reality type of vibe that you get when going to popular places. Because the Emerald Pools hike at Zion is very popular because it is very close to the lodge. We didn't need to take a bus to the trail.
And it's like pretty accessible. Like, it's not a difficult trail.
So there is a lot of people there, but none that you can see. But I didn't want to just include all the, because I was like,
we were
shooting.
able to find a little nook. But yeah, I'm like so uncomfortable, like, because I'm like, I'm not gonna like, like you told me to take another step, and I was like, I'm not taking another step, but I'll look up, because I was just like so uncomfortable being around so many people. And then like, I'm like, whatever shot you get is the shot you get, because I don't.
We're not influencers. We're not one of those people.
I'm not like putting on a show right now. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And then, like, it was very beautiful, but it can be difficult for me sometimes to like take in something that I am enjoying when there's a lot of like other things going on. Like,
Other opinions?
other people's experiences. Yeah, because this is when we had seen, which I probably look like I feel the same way, but we saw the girl that was like, she was at Emerald Pools. Like, you look around, it's beautiful. And she was just like...
Oh, well, so this is an example that I've used a lot at
Yeah.
this specific place, where if you can take you can take an experience with you wherever you go.
Mm-hmm.
That includes good and bad. So while we were there, I noticed there was someone sitting down on a rock, not looking around with their family, which is fine. Anyone can do that. But when one of her parents was like, "Hey, come over here, take a photo," and she was like, "Well, I've already seen something like this," and she like had her arms folded and was like,
Yeah.
"I'm not."
And she said that.
Yeah.
It wasn't like we're assuming that that's how she felt about
Yeah.
it. Like, she was like, I've seen stuff like this before.
And so for me, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
you can take if you can take a bad thing with you wherever you go in an experience, you're taking yourself wherever you go. I just learned from that and saying, why couldn't I take a beautiful experience with me wherever I go to? It works both ways, but I just try to observe and use
Yeah.
other people to learn from, and that's what I took away from that.
Yeah, and nothing against
Yeah.
her, because that is exactly how I acted when I was like a teenager, you know.
Right.
And so I was, I could be like that too, whenever you just like decide that you're in a bad mood, you can do that anywhere.
Yeah. And this little shot of the water is me adjusting my polarizing filter to make sure that it's on the top. The diffusion is on the top, which you can see here. You can see through the water as I move it.
Okay.
It's a camera filter thing, but
Okay.
if anyone needed an explanation, I know you didn't, but I'm just throwing it out.
Do something to
I just wanted to say this is sort of, it lends you more to leaning into what you're looking at, I hope. Like when you're watching it, sort of is like a pull. That's kind of my vibe with this. Is like, what is so incredible about this little bitty stream, this little tiny aspect of this whole big grand place. But it's like every part of it is what makes up the whole thing. Because without this rock or without this thing, you wouldn't get that beautiful scenic viewpoint, And so that's why the music's very intense for, in my opinion, what would be normally seen as like small little details. But you're just kind of like, oh, like it is all a part of the same
Yeah,
composition,
like
if you
we were
will.
taking in like the small little details among this like crazy landscape.
Yeah. So, and then I don't know if this was in the plan, and might be why you say this next.
I don't think so. I think it was a bonus adventure.
Yeah. So then you say this.
Do something today.
that's the end of that one.
Yeah. Yeah, I think my only plan for that day was just like making it to Zion.
Yep. Seemed
And
it.
so I do think that the Emerald Pools trails were like on my list of like things I wanted to do, but because we were able to do it on that day, it kind of like opened up possibilities for other, trails that I did not have on my to-do list.
Other activities.
Yep.
Oh, because it didn't really take too long. It didn't take all day.
No, it was just
Yeah.
what we did while we were kind of waiting to be able to check in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was like
Yeah.
November. The sun sets pretty early. Yeah.
Well, in the canyon too.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah. In
It-
the canyon.
Because it's very narrow. Zion's a pretty small canyon,
Mm-hmm.
so it's only in this canyon you get the sun for not that long because it'll go behind, and it
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
takes a minute. So I think that's what's cool about it too.
Mm-hmm.
Is it kind of has its own way of doing things
Yeah.
within it. Like, I mean, we'll see later, but like the time lapses are cool. Like the way the light shines on things. I guess they call it Zion for some reason.
Yeah.
It's like, it feels like you're having an experience. Like, it is an experience just being there, and even getting lucky enough to explore it more enhances all of it. But yeah, even the initial drive in and out, you're just kind of like, what is going on? Like, why hasn't anyone told me
I know.
too much? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. But, and that was one of the first places I've wanted to take you to, because I actually was there, and then as we'll get to know,
Yeah.
I was like, I need to come back here with Heather before I go too deep,
Yep. Yeah, and you told me that like I'm gonna take you there one day, and at the time I was like, okay, sure.
8 years before this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Well, 8 years before,
8 years from right now.
From right
4
now.
years before that.
4 years before that, yeah.
Yeah.
So 4 years before we went to Zion the first time, I was there. When I got back, I said, we should do something. But then, laughed it off, because it's like, well, yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Well,
no way.
We were like both fresh out of college and
Yep.
like broke. We hadn't been anywhere
No.
up to that point, so I was like, yeah, sure. Like you got to go on this because it was an opportunity for you, but I don't know if we'll have those same types of opportunities. And then at some point, we decided to make those opportunities.
It turns out you can create opportunities. Apparently.
Yeah.
But that was day one. That was our first day that we barely got an adventure in, and then worth it, And
Yep.
I'm excited to get after the next ones.
Yeah.
So that's all I have to say. I mean, episode 1. We'll keep this one less than an hour long, this Reflections.
I think so. Yeah.
I'm happy about that too, that these aren't going to be 45 minutes. Oh man. Yeah, break it up. If you need to reflect, it's okay to break up your experiences into little smaller chunks and not try to just know yourself instantly. You can't know say yourself who you are in one word. Okay. Can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never liked things like that, like the icebreaker stuff.
Yeah, define yourself.
Define yourself in one sentence or less.
Well, I wish it was that easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Good luck. No, you're gonna have to
dig
work
deep.
for it. Yeah.
Dig deep and watch videos about yourself. That's how we do it. So, thanks for watching. And anything else to say?
Nope.
All right. Thanks for watching. That seems to be it. So, we'll see you next time. Episode 14. We're getting up there. So, remember, go there. Do that.